My name's Don.
And I'm Peter.
And we are two plebs talking about... California.
This week in the DPRC.
You're back to sounding kind of happy about this.
Straight to the front lines of the war.
Yeah, kind of. And in that ridiculous vein, which is the view of this state.
But that's what Brown said. The federal government's waging war against California.
Brown seems very unfamiliar with what it looks like when the federal government wages war.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
I haven't seen any bombs or grenades
Right.
or even a foot soldier.
Right. Just nothing.
Nothing.
So,
But it's war.
But there is war.
There's war.
And that war that the federal government is waging has a new battlefield.
Yes.
And that particular battlefield is...
Well, our military is sophisticated. We do multi-front war.
Yeah. I don't think this is normally where we do it, but, maybe the legal division hangs out here.
They just suck JAG on them first.
Right. That's exactly what it is. We have employed JAG lawyers to come down and tell California that having a law that tells the federal government that they can't sell federal land is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they did.
Yep. California made a law saying, if the federal government wants to sell federal land, which is in the borders of California, we have to approve it first.
Right.
Because it's California.
Look, I'm not really all that surprised that California did this, because this is like their point of view about everything, right? Like, If you want to sell a thing, we need to tell you that it's okay.
If you want to do anything in California, A, you need our permission, and B, you need to give us a large sum of money.
Oh yeah, exactly, right? And that's what will come of this later.
We're taxing that sale.
Yeah, right. Like, well, dear feds, you can't sell things in California without giving California money. Give us sales tax percent these days is what, like 9.25%. So whatever you're selling, you need to give us 9.25%, because reasons.
Right.
Even though that's not how sales tax works anywhere else in this state, but
no,
it'll be fine.
California, the 6th largest economy in the world, and we need your money.
Yeah. Well,
we need our cut.
Weird. Right?
All right. We need our cut, because if you do anything to our inflow of cash, we're going to go broke.
Yeah. Including not increase it. Like, you just need to keep giving us more. But regardless, what you end up with here is that, Trump notoriously from the beginning has said, like, well, it's time to get rid of all this federal land. Now, to be fair, he will be accused of wanting to do that because, he's a real estate developer. Yeah. And so clearly he's only doing this for his own benefit, as opposed to that we have federalized boatloads of land over time and probably shouldn't have.
Probably.
And so...
And there's also the fact that, the one thing I guess nobody ever foresaw if Trump got made president was that he would go with what he knows, which is real estate.
Well,
I'm just saying it's his forte.
You say that, but I mean, he's done lots of shit prior to this.
Right.
That is, so, I mean...
Basically, that's what he's done. He barks on the TV because he's a TV personality, and he's working with real estate because he's a businessman who does real estate primarily.
Again,
I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is we like to do that, right? So, like, oh well, it was inevitable that Trump was going to get around to land. Like, well, considering the way his first year went, nothing was inevitable, in my opinion.
No.
First of all, because the quantity of things that Trump has done is ridiculous compared to prior presidents. There's no particular reason he should have gotten around to any of the last, say, 2 or 3 things that he did. Like, the tax bill should have been it. At no other point should we have really discussed anything. It's the one major bill that even gets discussed in a president's first year in office.
Right.
And that's already through, and we've done some other shit.
Yeah, it's through, done, and then there's still DACA bitching and Obamacare things.
Right. All kinds of shit, right?
And he's still trying to make progress on that goddamn wall.
Right. And look, whether you like anything he's doing or not, he's doing a lot. So it being inevitable that what amounts to right at the beginning of his second year, he started going after federal land is simply not true.
Right.
Unless what you're saying is that he's a very proactive president and actively trying to accomplish the agenda that he said he would from the beginning,
And then, like, he came
whether
in
or
with a
not
plan.
you like it.
Like he came in with a plan,
Right.
to be president.
But that almost seems like he's not a crazy person, and that's the problem California keeps facing, right?
Right, because they need Trump to be an insane dictator.
Exactly. And so how is it that they're framing this? Like, he's trying to get rid of all the, like, have you considered that there is a newt in the Central Valley that, like, if it wasn't conservation wetlands, like, the newt would die? I think it's actually a frog, but whatever.
Right. Well, then how about, as maybe a compromise, is that Trump just gives California the first dibs on being able to buy the federal land?
Well, so that would defeat the purpose of what he's doing a little.
How?
Well, so what he is saying is that we federalized all of this land, and this causes us follow-on problems throughout the country, right?
Okay.
Like, I want to say Wyoming is like 50% federal land.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn. Okay.
So, when you say something like that, all of a sudden it's like, well, that's a lot of federal land. Why did we need to do that?
Right.
And the reality is we've spent like 50 years running around going, well, but
Is it all for the spotted owl?
someone in 1973 saw a spotted owl in that tree, and so it's a spotted owl nesting ground, so we're going to condemn your house so that the spotted owl can nest there. I realize the one hasn't been seen since 1973, but I have this picture, which is very blurry and faded, and I'm telling you that white dot's a spotted owl. And then we actually condemn the house.
Right.
So,
Right.
with that kind of history, I'm all for what he's doing, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I won't equivocate on this because really, there are ridiculous stories of eminent domain for the purpose of wildlife conservation, right? Like somebody in Florida had like a sparrow or something that is, I don't know, endangered.
Right.
They were going to sell their house or they bulldoze it or something and got told, nope, you can't because this one tree here hypothetically has a sparrow in it, and therefore no. And
Right.
when I say no, I mean never.
Right.
What the hell? And look, I get it. Everybody tried. We're like, oh, endangered species. We need to like protect this thing and that thing. And what happened? What always happens, right? Someone immediately went, we're going to abuse the fuck out of that, right? And so,
And now half of Wyoming is a fucking federal land.
Well, so to be fair, that's not what got Wyoming there. But this is how it hits like just regular old Joe, right?
Right.
Who just wants to sell his fucking house. And there are some indications that a lot of when this happens, well, not a lot, but some of when this happens is you're selling a house, I put in a bid on it, and you go, nah, fuck you. I'm going to sell it with a coffee cup. And the moment you do that, I go, oh, but there's a spotted owl in the house that Peter's selling, so you can't sell it.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't.
I can't make alterations to the land.
Depends on where you live.
Really? They're going to force you to own something you don't want?
Mm-hmm.
How is that legal?
Or they'll just federalize it. Like, not yours anymore. Deal with it.
Well, eminent domain, they usually give you money for it.
Yeah, they give you whatever they determine market value to be.
Right.
And so this has created huge problems throughout the entire country and needs to stop.
Yeah.
However, what is it that the moment he says, well, we're going to defederalize some quantity of land, California says, only if we approve. Wait a minute. You didn't need to approve when they federalized it.
Nope.
Why? What the hell say do you get now?
Well, it's California. You can't tell us what to do.
Not only can you not tell us what to do, you can't tell us not to tell you what to do.
Right.
Because that's California. And for some reason, some unfathomable to me reason, California thinks they're going to win a lawsuit on these grounds.
Of course they do. Because they're California. They always get their way.
Yeah, sure. Right up till we get to SCOTUS, and then they don't get anything.
Right. And SCOTUS is like, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Piss right the fuck off.
Like, you don't just get to rewrite federal law because California said.
No. A state doesn't get to tell the federal government what it can and can't do.
And yet it is what California tries on a regular basis.
I know.
So,
well, and they try to pass policy and make the rest of the country follow it too. So, it seems average for them.
Well, and you say them.
I am not part of the government system other than my voting ability.
Yeah, see? So this is the government of the people, for the people, by the people.
Not by me.
Oh. Anyway.
Fuck Chop, you know that.
Don't hold back now. Tell me how you really feel. Oh, man. So, I cannot wait, right? Because you know what's going to be great about this is this suit's going to go forward. Right. And the feds are going to sue California, and they're going to have to do it with a federal judge in California who's going to go, nope, California can tell you to do that. So they're going to appeal to the Ninth, and the Ninth is going to go, nope, California can tell you to do that. And they're going to appeal to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS is going to be like, what the fuck are all of you doing?
Why is this here? This should not have hit my desk, fuckers.
Right. Because unless it is entirely possible. I don't want to...
Is that why SCOTUS just doesn't want to hear a lot of cases because they're all coming from California?
Well, no, actually. Amazingly, they're not. Right? But...
well, that's what I think, is I think they're hearing the cases from everywhere but California.
Well, you say that, but I mean, a lot of make it there, right? Like the gay baker just made it there and all that other kind of shit, so... I gotta agree.
Yeah.
Giant sigh indeed.
Yeah.
But if you think that's a giant sigh-worthy moment...
Yeah.
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 California has again decided that it has the best method of doing all the things.
Oh no. What are we doing now?
We're telling cops they can't shoot people.
Oh, we're defending our undocumented guests.
Probably, yeah.
or other minorities.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Minorities are specifically referenced in the article, so...
I'm just saying, that's usually where the arguments come from.
Right.
We're trying to protect all these people who need to not be shot.
Right. Well, so, what does all this come down to? California is going to change the rules of engagement for cops from reasonable fear for their life to no other choice. I forget exactly how they frame it.
It's
last resort.
It's going from reasonable force to necessary force.
Right. So reasonable fear to necessary force, right? Because it's the line.
They use force in both descriptions.
Do they? Well, whatever. Regardless, the point here is the premise is that cops will no longer be able to walk into court and go, "I was afraid for my life, therefore I shot this person." Right.
Right.
And based on my training, I knew that this necessary step of force was relevant. It will, mostly because the training will have to change, right?
Right.
And what nobody likes to talk about is that cops have rules the way they do for a reason. And if you want to go, here's some pretty horrible reasons why they are the way they are. The Justicar has a video about why cops, shoot to kill, first of all. And then, more importantly, don't just wait till someone's down and then determine that it's safe. And it really comes down to cops have died.
Yeah.
Like, not a little bit. And so,
lot.
as the years have gone by and we've learned more of these lessons, the rules for cops change. Mm-hmm. And they've gotten harsher, which nobody likes because, but it was an unarmed black man who was just breaking out windows in Sacramento. And, he didn't do nothing and the cops killed him because he had a cell phone.
In his own backyard.
Right. Right. Like, so,
they shot an unarmed man in his own backyard.
Right. And this is the argument they're going with.
Right.
Well, because he didn't do nothing.
Because he didn't do nothing. I mean, the police didn't chase him into his own backyard.
No, not at all. And I don't know why you would suggest that they did.
Because the video footage suggests that they did.
Oh, God damn it.
There's video evidence.
Reality getting in the way again?
Yes.
So...
Reality's getting in the way again.
Look, here's the problem, right? Is that in that circumstance, what happens if that was a gun, right? And the reality is, but as often as not, it is.
Right.
So... I don't know how else to say this. If you don't want the cops to chase you down and then be all amped up because there was a guy walking around booting out windshields in the middle of the street and then took off running away from them, then I'm just saying don't be that guy.
Right.
But no, apparently we're just going to start lowering when it's okay for the cops to shoot to a point where
we're effectively gonna start hitting the point of the cops aren't allowed to shoot unless they're shot at.
Mhm.
Waving a weapon at them is no longer sufficient.
Sure.
They have to risk dying.
Yeah.
Before they're allowed to defend themselves.
Sure, and I mean, go spend some time, because nobody ever cares about stats. But there is a reality that when the statistics come out, what you get is that when cops don't shoot first, you got a good chance of that. It's like 1 in 3 if the suspect shoots first, cop dies.
Right.
And depending on how you change around that scenario based on what you're talking about, that number goes way up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But like as a sum total average, it's like 1 in 3 suspect shoots first, cop dies.
Yeah.
And so if we keep going down this road, what we're going to end up with is there's a video that's been floating around YouTube forever. There's a cop and he's interviewing some guy, and so you're the cop, and the guy starts inching a little closer and a little closer and a little closer, and he reaches out, pulls out a gun, shoots that cop in the chest, and takes off running. That cop died.
Yeah.
But we need to wait for the suspect to shoot first, right?
Right.
And look, don't get me wrong. I didn't want to see that cop just walk up and be like, you know what? Boom! Fuck writing tickets. I mean,
right.
That's not a thing. But understand that there is a reason that they have the rules they have.
Right. It's to keep them safe.
And keep equally in mind, Los Angeles is within the purview of California, and so is Oakland. Right?
Yes.
So is Stockton. So
right. Some pretty dangerous places.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, they pale in comparison to Chicago.
Well,
and there's places that beat them out, but we do have some dangerous places around here.
Just the reality of that is proving once again California is not the best at anything.
No.
So
we like them not to be the best at that one, though.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying.
Nice if California held a title for something.
I think in part of the report they said California that there had been 162 deaths by police officer in the previous year.
Yeah.
And half of them were didn't have a gun.
Yeah. Well, and that's the argument, right? Though
the whole thing is the way they phrase it. Well, half of them didn't have a gun. Like, does that mean the other half had like pipes and knives? Because you didn't say they were unarmed.
Right. Well, so half of them didn't have a gun, so by nature half did. Right. And then of that half, how many were hitting a cop with a bat, and the cop went, you know what, enough of this, boom.
Right. Like, I'm sorry. I understand that we don't like the idea of losing life.
Well, look, yeah, I get it. As an average abstract principle, everybody, would it be better if people didn't die?
Yeah.
Well,
I would prefer people didn't die.
In comes that reality thing again.
Right. Here comes that reality thing again. Yes. I mean, I would prefer that no one died either. However, criminals need to be stopped, and they're willing to kill.
Right.
So they can go get fucked.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we have a friend who likes to regularly hand over information to us. Specifically, he's usually pretty good for this show, this particular one, right? This episode. And he sent me an article about this, and the next line was #blue flu. And I went, yeah, that's probably coming.
Blue flu?
All the cops calling sick tomorrow.
Oh.
What are you going to do? You don't like us anyway. You want us all to get shot. Cool.
Yeah.
And look, whether they're right or wrong for that belief, there's going to be some...
Hey,
there's going to come a time,
hey,
right?
The CDC did say that there's another wave of flu coming in.
Swine flu, just regular flu, blue flu. It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
And the reality is the police unions, who I am generally not fond of because they're a union, but they are, blind squirrels find nuts, came out and said, look, here's the deal. If you do this, what you're saying is we want to increase the chances that cops get killed dramatically from where they are now. And that's what you're saying to every cop, whether you like it or not.
Right.
We're not going to be able to keep cops.
Right.
This is the way it is.
Yeah, and everyone will have to turn into Batman.
Oh, and equally, so you know whether or not you like our definition of necessary force, we already run under the don't go kill people unless it's necessary.
Yeah,
thing.
we already run on do your best to de-escalate the situation before you pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
We already run on those kinds of guidelines, but if we feel it's necessary, we do it.
Well, and, again, you may disagree with whatever their argument of necessary is, but if that's the case, what you're telling these cops with doing this is not, well, we just agree what you were doing was necessary.
Now, I do believe it was actually a police chief who said this is bullshit, and the unions said, we haven't read the legislation yet, so we can't comment.
Unions back to the chief, right? Because it was Plumas chief.
I'm pretty sure if what he's saying is right, we're going to say no to this shit. But...
Well, so, fair enough. Worthy correction. But regardless, what you're going to get from everybody is going to be the same thing, right? On the pro-cop side of the world.
Right.
And it's not going to be by accident.
I'm sorry, I'm with the cops on this one.
And
we need to not make their job more dangerous than it already is.
Well, look, that's a very abstract thing to say, and in my opinion, shouldn't be a hard and fast principle either, right?
Right.
But look, is this going to help, or is this going to do what always happens when we do this sort of thing?
It's going to do what it always does when we try to do this sort of thing, instead of cost cops their lives.
Yeah. And look, I don't see the positive here, right?
Right.
So, well, but that kid in the backyard wouldn't have died. Okay, now, for every cop that dies, how many people die because that cop wasn't there? Right. Just with raw numbers, regardless of the value of that cop's life. How many people die because that cop wasn't there? For 25 years.
Right. Who knows how many?
And who cares, apparently.
And back to, a part of our usual stance around here, back to they had both body cam footages and the helicopter footage.
Yeah.
This guy was their suspect, not somebody who looked like their suspect. The fucking helicopter tracked him down to that location and guided the officers there.
Well, so
unless you're saying that not the officers made a mistake and had the officers target the wrong person, which is not being purported on the news at all.
Well, that's never what we talk about, right? We just say he was unarmed.
So what? He was still a criminal.
Well, I mean, should the penalty for busting out windshields be death?
No.
On the other hand, should you, I don't know, be hiding in a dark corner in a backyard while the police are chasing you?
No, you shouldn't. I mean, basically, if things happen ideally, the crime should never have happened to begin with, right?
Step one,
don't be a fucking criminal, and this isn't a risk for you.
Right. Well,
Step two, if you're caught, hands up, face on the fucking ground so you don't get shot.
Right.
Or less likely to get shot.
Yeah.
Because we've got reports of that happening anyway.
They were all fake, but
of course they were.
And that's the end of our show for the day.
That's right. It's taco time.
However, before we go, we'd appreciate it if you shared us around.
You can find us on YouTube,
BitChute,
Facebook,
Twitter,
Patreon,
and Maker Support.
Thanks for stopping by.